you want to become a better golfer, save money and generally wipe up around the greens? Well, I'm going to tell you to throw this golf club in the bin. We're not talking about the TaylorMade MG4 because they're actually gorgeous, guys. The full reviews are on my channel. But how many people would be approached with this golf shot, short-sided, out the rough, and then play a shot that unfortunately doesn't, I mean, I hit that really well, went nice and high. I knew I had to get it high to get it anywhere near the green, and then it just doesn't go where you want it to. So the 60 degree is probably going to be a lot of golfers' most lofted club, but it's actually one of the most difficult clubs to control. So if we just throw that one away and replace it, it's killing me to say this, but replace it with something a little bit less lofted, a little bit more versatile, a little bit maybe more bounce on here, you can still open this club face up, but because you're opening the club face up to get the loft, it actually inherits more bounce on the bottom of the club. So that means it's going to be a little bit easier to have that turf interaction. So if I try and play this shot with a 56 degree, you can see there that's a lot easier to control the distance. I still get the spin, and that actually, just misses the hole. That makes it a lot easier because I don't have to swing back as far. If I don't have to swing back as far, there's a lot less that can go wrong. And you can see if you do strike it around the middle of the club, you are going to get a nice bit of spin there. But generally, you'll see a lot of the world's best golfers do have a favourite club around the greens. So Shane Lowry is one that pops to mind straight away for me. He is amazing with his sand wedge. And actually, a lot of the time, if you should play a bump and run, if you should play a Texas wedge, as long as you know what you're doing, as long as you're comfortable with this, you can actually start to play shots that you're more happy with. So I could try and send this in a little bit lower and still try and get a little bit of spin. You can see that releases out nicely. It's gone a little bit past, but you actually need a landing angle here. So in order to get that, you would open the face up and get the bounce that we spoke about earlier. So why is it so much more difficult with the 60 degree? Because actually what we're trying to do here is maintain dynamic loft. So we talk about with irons, we try and take away dynamic loft. We talk about with driver, we try and get the low point pre-ball. Yes, that's all good and well, but when you're around the greens, it's more about just maintaining that shaft angle and trying to create a shot that's nice and consistent. You'll see that one came out nice and low and actually checked up on me. That's three totally different shots, a high one, a mid one and a low one. Two of them I'd say gimmies, and one of them we'd have a go at a putt, probably make it 40 or 50% of the time. Also, if you're in the fairway and I have the dreaded 60 degree in my hands, this is where people start to think, oh, well, I want to get some spin here. I'm going to try and impress my friends. I'll send it in there nice and low. It'll spin back, and then I'm going to look like a tour pro. But actually what you start to see is that leading edge becomes a little bit more sharp, and that's the shot we get. You duff it a little bit. I was kind of thinking that leading edge might dig more, but I've gotten away with that with the bounce on this 60 degree. If we were to go more 56 here, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with experimenting around the greens, trying to get some spin, trying to impress your friends. It's always nice to play nice, interesting golf shots. But again, if I were to just tweak this 56 degree open a little bit, I'm going to get more bounce behind that ball. And you can see there, that's going to have a lot more on it. That's landed on a downslope, still got a little bit of spin, but generally it's a lot more of a percentage shot than the 60 degree. I can also close this down a little bit and play really nice low shots. That one should spin, then actually release out like a putt. That's the shot that we would implore you to play. That one's gone to 2 or 3 feet. Yes, you could play a bump and run with a wedge, a bump and run with a 9 iron and 8 iron, but if you get good at golf with one club around the green, you generally know you're going to be more consistent, you're going to be more attacking minded, and confidence levels are going to be a lot higher than just trying to play that 60 degree wedge. That one could be good actually. Go on. Guys, Chris is now going to give us a couple of drills to help you set up properly with this club. Should you throw away your most lofted wedge, do us a favour, get in the comments below and let us know. But Chris, over to you.
So guys, like James mentioned there with short game, it's all about confidence, all about trying to get something that works, and just buying a new club, buying a 60, buying a 64, buying a Phil Mickelson is not going to help you. We all know buying new clubs is not always, or really never, going to fix your game. So getting better with a club, for example, I've got the 52 here, and it's about learning how to play the different shots.
For example, look at my brand new TaylorMade MG4 wedge.
Yeah, correct, exactly. Look at my new club. This is actually James's. I'm not taking any responsibility for this. So let's start to learn how to play the different shots, because if you can get good at playing all the different shots with one club, you're going to have more confidence. You're going to be able to get over that and go, do you know what, I can just put it back in my stance to play a low one, I can put it forwards in my stance to play a high one. I'm going to get a better technique. I'm going to be working on my technique to get the right shot instead of just hoping, well, if I get my 60, it's going to go high. If you've got a bad technique with a 60, no matter what you do, it's not going to go in the air potentially, and it's not going to be controlled with distance and spin. So for here, if I'm wanting to do this with a 52, for example, nice and easy. If I want to play a low one, all we're going to do here is we're going to get a little bit closer to the ball, so just over a foot away from the ball, being the shaft nice and tall, but it is back in my stance, so it is towards the middle of my right foot. From there, I'm not then going to go, okay, right, I want it low, so I'm going to get my hands forward, because all that does is encourage that leading edge to dig straight into the ground. That's not going to get us any control. That's going to get the one that then rockets off. Well, I've got it low, but I've got no control. So I've got it back in the stance, I've got it nice and tall, but then all I'm going to do is have it in the same position, so it's pointing at my zipper. The way for me to get it to come out low is just to have my weight left. So you see that when I move left, everything comes left with me. I'm not getting that hand pointing towards my left pocket. I'm just going to get into that setup, ball position back, lean left. I've got that shaft lean, and then from there I can play a nice simple motion, and that comes out nice and low, lands just on the green and releases up towards the flag. Very minimal motion there, but that's a 52 and it didn't launch high at all. But you see there, if I'd have gone, okay, like the classic, I'll get my 8-iron and do that bump and run, that might land into the slope here. If we get any more forward shafting like a lot of people do, we don't control then the distance. It becomes very hard. So if I now want to play a mid trajectory one that's going to carry maybe 2/3 of the way there, then I need to move that ball position towards the centre of my stance. So the ball position moves towards the centre, my weight is still left. So I've got the loft on the club, my weight is a little bit left, so I'm still going to get that downward hit. I'm going to put the same motion on there. Now we've moved that ball position forwards, if I make that same motion, you'll see that has launched a little bit higher, ran out, landed probably just past halfway, and again close. Two totally different motions there, but two very similar positions. So when we go to a high shot now, so I'm going to go 52, play a high shot, and a lot of you will be sat there going, well, why don't you just get your 56? But this is exactly what we're trying to get you. Start to know how to set up to the ball, and then you'll be able to play any shot. So all I'm going to do here now is get a little bit further away from the ball. I'm going to have the ball position nice and far forwards, but once I get further away, I can lower the handle, so the loft is pointing more up, it's not pointing to the right. You see there, the loft will be pointing towards the bushes. If I now drop my hands, that loft is pointing up, and I can make the same motion here. So again, stance can be nice and narrow, my weight still left, so even though I'm playing a flop shot here, I'm trying to get the ball going up, my weight is still left. We are still trying to hit down into that golf ball to get that to go up. I'm not now thinking, oh, I've got to put more wrist in, I've got to flick it up. No, the loft is on. Let's play the same motion. You'll see there, a little bit higher, launched a little bit further. Not exactly how I wanted it to there. I got a little bit of a drop kick there, so I'm going to give you another one.
Less percentage play, in fairness.
I'm not happy with that. But it's a very difficult shot, like James says there. That's the high tariff shot. That's if you need to go over something. So you'll start to see there, which one do you struggle with? You might see that your technique with a flop shot might be fantastic. You might be like James. You might be able to play that nice and high soft one, but not maybe as good with a low one. And that's the way you then go down and you know what to practice on. So let's try that again. Weight left, face nice and open. There you go, a lot more loft, and that actually maybe is the second closest one. But you can see we can do that, we can get plenty of loft on there. If I get my setup correct and I choose the right club, start to play around with it. Do it with your 52, can you do it with that? Do it with your 56, see which one you are most comfortable with, and then when you get around the green, you're going to have a lot more confidence. You know what the club is, you just need to pick what kind of flight do I need to get the ball close. And if you can do that, guys, it's going to help you be good at golf.